the card on Saturday. June 25th, the O2 Arena, headlined Anthony Joshua's first defence of his IBF heavyweight world title. Live and exclusive on Showtime in America and of course Sky Sports box office in the UK. It's a huge card and I'm so excited by so many of the championship bouts on display on Saturday night. We're joined by some of those members here today. Firstly, down on my far left, the young man who has been thrown straight into the deep end. Limited amateur experience, but plenty of fighting blood and fighting heart, and that's Conor Benn, who on Saturday takes part in his third contest after debuting at the O2 Arena on April the 9th and then fighting on the Ricky Burns card just a few weeks ago up in Glasgow. He's had a really exciting start to his pro career and we look forward to seeing him live again on Sky Sports on Saturday night. Down on the far end of the table, a man who of course lit up Sky Sports box office on December the 12th in that epic battle with Anthony Joshua for the British heavyweight title on December the 12th, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Dillian Whyte to the Matchroom team. I think he's one of the most exciting heavyweights in world boxing, not just in British boxing. And I think he's in a great mix now, of course, 2 British heavyweight world champions and others coming through. You know, David Price back on the scene, Derek Chisora, a potential fight out there for Dillian Whyte. And he takes on Ivica Bakurin on Saturday night, who we saw go 10 rounds recently with Tony Bellew, who went 12 rounds with Michael Wallach, a top heavyweight prospect for the WBO European, 12 rounds as well with Francesco Pianetta from Italy. So this is a fight we expect to give Dillian rounds, coming off the back of his recent shoulder operation following the Anthony Joshua fight. From Team Doran, we have a great fight here for the British middleweight title and Chris Eubank Jr.'s first defence of his crown that he won in such great fashion against Nick Blackwell earlier this year. Dave Coldwell, who is more of a manager and trainer these days rather than a promoter and manager, and certainly I've never seen him smile so much, giving great input into the likes of Tony Bellew, training him to his recent world title victory. Jamie McDonald, Gavin McDonald, he's got a great team and he's got his manager's hat on here today and this week with his charge, Tom Doran, former prize fighter champion, 17-0 WBC international middleweight champion, who's really here to fight. He's in fantastic condition. I just saw him check weight. I think he's in the condition of his career so far, and a huge opportunity on Saturday night to walk out in front of 17,000 people at the O2 Arena and fight Chris Eubank Jr. for the middleweight British title. Ronnie Davis, it's always a pleasure to have him up on the top table, a man of immense knowledge, credibility, and very rarely will you find anyone say a bad word about this man. Shared a wonderful journey with English Chris Eubank Sr. And now with Chris Eubank Jr. leading the way as he defends his British middleweight championship on Saturday night. To English Chris Eubank Sr., pleasure to have you up here. We've discussed many routes, many options beyond this fight, but of course Saturday night is the first defence of that title that I know is very dear to your heart and to Junior's heart, and of course Chris Eubank Jr., the current British middleweight champion, who makes that first defence on Saturday night. A young man who I think has quickly become one of the big stars in world boxing. And although many are talking about the future, I know that the way that he dedicates into the sport, he's left no stone unturned in preparation for the first defence of his title. As always, this event wouldn't be possible without our exclusive broadcast partner Sky Sports, and I'm going to pass now to Adam Smith to talk a bit about the event and also to ask some of the fighters up here some questions.
Thanks, Eddie. We're very excited. Terrific fight night ahead at the O2 on Saturday. And it's not just, of course, about the main event. Everyone's excited about AEJ and how he defends his world heavyweight title against the unbeaten American Dominic Breazeale, who we saw both of them work out last night at a packed York Hall. Really good event that was. And the guys up here, or most of them, were performing as well. And it's a terrific undercard. It's a cracking set of fights. I think there's some real talent up on this stage, and there will be again on the second press conference as well. I think it's a really, really enticing night of boxing from start to finish. Hopefully you're enjoying the preview shows on Sky Sports, and we streamed live for 5 hours on .com last night, and we'll be doing much more of that. So plenty coming up on digital and linear for us, and of course on Sky Sports News. But let's get to the fights. I'm going to start with Conor Benn. Very excited about the development of Conor, not just obviously because of his dad, but because of what he's brought to the ring in the first couple of fights we've seen him. That's ferocity, excitement, and aggression. Conor, we spoke last night at the York, seemed to be enjoying yourself, but you said to me that you just want to fight. Is that what we're going to get from you in the development in your young career, that you're going to take this aggressive style and keep running with it?
No, definitely. I'm going to get back to the drawing board and really start working on my jab and, you know, showing off my boxing skills, which is what I'm perfectly capable of. But as I said, when you're in the O2 and you've got 20,000 people chanting your name, you know, it's a real. So I just need to get back to the drawing board really and start working on my jab.
How did you find that professional debut in front of the packed crowd on the last AJ night, and then your experience in Scotland, which was different type of fight, different results? How have you found it so far, the first two?
It's unbelievable, you know, I'm learning on the job, and you know, fighting in big crowds like this is only going to make me better. You know, I just love it. I love the atmosphere and the reception I get when I fight. I just love fighting.
Nigel was obviously around the first couple, not here this week. Is he going to watch from a distance this time?
Yeah, he's going to be back on the other side of the world and watch and just send his prayer up for me.
Do you mind that, or do you like him being close?
You know what, I like him being there, because at the end of the day, he's not just my dad, he's a living legend, and you know, to have a living legend in your corner, what more can you ask for? But it's his choice. He wants to take a step back and really let me do what I've got to do.
Do you feel that extra pressure with the name?
No, not at all. You know, at the end of the day, that name's always going to be there. It's got its benefits, and you know, it's got its flaws. But you know, I just embrace it. You know, and not gonna let that pressure consume me. I just got to love fighting and enjoy it, 'cause it's a short career.
Finally, what are the fans going to be in for on Saturday night in fight number 3 for Conor Benn?
A lot more boxing. A lot more boxing, and you know, we're going to blend it all in together, and you know, hopefully one day I'll be the perfect boxer, puncher, and just mix it all up. But we've got a hell of a journey in front of us.
You've got a good man in your corner in Tony Sims. Good luck, Conor, on Saturday night. Let's go down to the other end of the table, and slightly heavier man, Dylan White. Dylan, obviously, you in many ways made your name from the Joshua fight, giving him a terrific scrap, and I know you were disappointed obviously with the outcome and the injury. How, first of all, have you recovered from that shoulder problem, and are you fit, firing and ready to go? It certainly seemed like that last night when we saw you at your call.
Yeah, I'm fit and ready. You know, for me, with any injuries, the hardest part is mental, and the first 4 weeks of camp was a little bit difficult because I think I was a little bit insecure about the shoulder, but as time's gone on, I started letting it off. I started hitting real hard with it, and as you can see last night, I was letting the left foot score pretty hard and strong. So I've recovered good, and I'm wearing and ready to go.
It's obviously a very, very exciting mix of heavyweights at the moment. Not only Anthony Joshua, but you know, we've got Tyson Fury, of course, the world heavyweight champion who defends against Vladimir Klitschko in a rematch. You've got David Haye, you've got David Price, who under Dave Coldwell's tutorship looks really good again. You've got Derek Chisora too. It's mouth-watering out there. What's the plan for Dylan White in the next 2 or 3 fights?
The plan for me is getting rid of this fella and knock him out hopefully, and fighting in Leeds and in a couple of weeks time after. Then originally the plan was to fight Dave Ellen for the British title, but the board I think got a bit worried that I was going to hurt him pretty bad, so they objected to the fight, which I don't know why. They suggested Sam Saxon, but Dave Allen's highly ranked in the world as well as in Britain than Sam Saxon's. I don't know why they objected to the fight. So I don't know what Eddie's got planned for me. Maybe another title, maybe Commonwealth or European or whatever. I don't know what Eddie's got. So the next 2 fights is Saturday, July 30th in Leeds, and then whatever Eddie says, then and hopefully Chisora agreed to fight me in December, because I really want to fight Derek Chisora.
Yeah, no love lost again with Derek Chisora, it seemed, at the press conference the other day.
You know, the problem is, when I first got into boxing, I used to spar with Derek. That's, he was one of the first person I sparred with, and me and him's always had this thing, because he was a seasoned pro and I was beating him up then, and I never had no experience, so he's always got this thing for me. I don't know what his problem is, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, I want to get on with him in the ring. and putting a stop to his career, because I think the people is tired of him stinking venues out, to be honest.
You were with Jonathan Banks. You've made a big move to Mark Tibbs, excellent young trainer. How is that gelling? And obviously in the sort of coming months, you've got Jimmy Tibbs there as well, a lot of experience too. Why make that move, and how's it going to benefit you?
I made the move because I believe in the next 2, 3, 4 fights I'll be fighting the same level of opponent Vladimir is fighting. And I can't be second best to no one at the elite level. And that's partly one of the problems I had in the last camp. I had to follow Vladimir around, go where Vladimir is doing, train after Vladimir, train before Vladimir. You know what I mean? And Mark's a good trainer. He's very ambitious and very driven. And he's hungry as well. He's also a good fighter. Very passionate. So I was speaking to him for a while. I thought, you know what? This is exactly what I need. Somebody who's going to give me that time and stuff like that, because I know how to fight. I can box. I'll fight anyone. I just need to work on little things, tweak little things, and somebody's just going to, you know, sit down, talk to me, give me some good instructions, and put me through my paces. And Mark does that, so he's perfect for me at the minute.
What are we going to see Saturday night on Anthony Joshua's undercard? And is it the fact that you want to get back in the ring with Anthony Joshua that's driving you on the most?
No, that's not the drive me on the most. I definitely want to fight him again because I'm not a loser. Definitely want to fight him again and beat him. Let's score 1-1 or whatever. But for me, what drives me on is to be a real champion, which I still believe I will be, and to provide for my children. That's it. You know what I mean? The Joshua thing doesn't drive me on the top, but I definitely want to hurt him and fight him again, 100%.
Just want to bring Eddie in quickly. Obviously, you've just signed up Dylan White. Sort of ironic move, really, after what happened in the build-up to December. What are your plans for him in this mouth-watering domestic and world heavyweight mix?
Well, nice and busy, I think is important. He'll fight on Saturday night, an 8-round fight, and he'll box in Leeds on July the 30th for a title. Looks like hopefully we'll be able to confirm that fight to announce following Saturday's win. And then we want to move on and fight for the British title. He was mandated to fight Hughie Fury for the British title. Hughie Fury pulled out about a day later. And then we requested to the board that Dillian Whyte would fight Dave Allen. They've made Dave Allen against Sam Sexton for a final eliminator. So I can't see how they don't feel that Dave Allen is ready to challenge for the British title. We've requested again that the board make that fight, because I think they have to show a little bit of commercial nous and get these belts active. The British Heavyweight Championship is one of the most prestigious domestic titles in boxing, and they have to just show some common sense and allow, in my opinion, the Dave Allen fight. If not, you know, maybe we look to the Sam Sexton fight, but the Allen fight is one that's making some noise, and I think if everyone's sensible, we can look to that fight in September.
Anthony Joshua is a world champion. Can Dylan White be?
For sure. I mean, look, you know how highly we rate Anthony Joshua, and you know, my bum's still going from that session with Dillian Whyte. So I think, you know, he's a very exciting fighter. People love to see him fight. People love to hear him talk, and people want to see that fight again. So, you know, the route is not necessarily the Anthony Joshua rematch. We know that that's there in 2017. But like Dillian says, carve out the domestic titles and go on and challenge for world honours.
It's funny boxing, isn't it? So enjoy sport. Good luck, Dylan, on Saturday night. Let's bring Dave Coldwell in, part of Team Doran, of course, in a fascinating British middleweight title fight. Dave, first of all, congratulations on recent success. I'm not sure whether you have come down to earth yet after what happened at Goodison Park. Well done for that. I think it's a tremendous achievement with Tony Bellew. Let's talk Tom Doran. He's obviously unbeaten, former prize-fighter champion, can punch, was in one of the fights of recent times against Luke Keeler. How confident are you of going in and causing what would be a big upset?
Well, very confident. You know, the thing about Tom is he seems to raise his levels with the opponent. So he's in the ring with, but it's sparring, but it's fighting. And this is a fight that himself and his training team have asked for me to make. You know, we've watched Chris come through since he's turned pro, obviously. A very good fighter himself. You know, he's strong, he's vicious. I think he's one of the most vicious, ferocious sort of fighters we've seen domestically for a long, long time. The way he puts his shots together and everything, you know, you can't knock that. But he is beatable, you know, and as an undefeated fighter, he's 17-0 now. He won the prize fighter, where he fought some good kids that he was the underdog in. A lot of people fancied Keeler to beat him last time out. But he always raises his game, and he's one of these guys that doesn't get ruffled. And I think to fight EUBANK and to face what he's going to be looking to put on you, I think you need to have a mentality where you can deal with things like that. You can deal with, whereas some fighters will panic. You know, he won't panic, and he knows what he's got to do to win. And one thing that people seem to be forgetting about is that Tom can punch himself. Just because you've got a good chin and you look very, very strong and you can take shots, doesn't mean that you can't get knocked out, doesn't mean that you can't get hurt. And this is boxing, and we're looking forward to it.
You said there's weaknesses in the makeup. Obviously there is the loss to Billy Joe Saunders. What else have you seen?
I'm not going to say what we've been working on, what they've been working on as a team, and what my thoughts are here. We're fighting on Saturday. But every fighter's got weaknesses. They're going to be looking at Tom and saying, look, there's this, there's that, there's this, that, you can capitalize, and that's boxing, that's what it is. But on fight night, the fighters have got to go out there and put the plans into effect. And what they've been working on and what they've seen, they've got to then see on the night as it happens and as it unfolds.
You say the plans were afoot for a EUBANK Golovkin fight. Do you feel as though they're looking past you? Do you feel as though that's not the way that it should be happening with a fight like this on Saturday, or would you say that's boxing?
A little bit of both. To be honest, it's to the extent that it's been how the talks and preparation, everybody's talking about the Golovkin fight, that's all it's been talking about. I find that disrespectful a little bit. I think a British title fight should be spoken about as what's happening right here. Yes, you talk about what's going to happen after, if you get through. But there's no if we get through, there's no, it's all about this deal, it's going to be announced, blah, blah, waiting on this, waiting on that. It's just about the Golovkin fight. There's plenty of times in boxing history where fighters have made big plans for the next fight after this. Just go through this fight. It's a run-of-the-mill fight, and they're going to get beat. It can change your career path. There's plenty of fighters that have been top of the world and got took out with one shot, and then, that's it, they're out there. I just think that, yeah, we all talk about what we're going to do after this fight, but it's the extent that it seems to have been. It's just that Tom's just been totally written off, just being dismissed, and I feel that, he deserves a little bit more respect than that. And it's the way that people have been talking about it. It is what it is, but it's boxing.
Let's ask Tom. Do you feel there's any disrespect, or do you just not concentrate on that and you've locked yourself away? Obviously got yourself into fabulous shape for what is a massive opportunity for you. What's your take on it all?
I do think personally it's slightly disrespectful. I'm glad to see that the nameplate in front of me says Tom DORAN and not Triple G, because that's all I've heard for the last 5 weeks. But I pushed it to one side, in the gym, working my ass off, and got myself in the condition of a career, well, my life, and you're all going to see that on Saturday night.
You say the condition of your life. It is a huge moment for you, isn't it? On a massive stage, you've come through a prize fighter tournament. You've thrilled us at times. You obviously can punch it, and you carry an unbeaten record into the ring. But it's a British middleweight title. It's beating a guy like Chris EUBANK Jr. and there's 17,000 people in there. Is it something you're going to relish, or is there a bit of fear? Is there a mixture?
A bit of both. It doesn't get bigger than this, really. I think in British boxing at the moment, we're fighting on the O2. In front of, like say, 17,000 people. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's the British title, which is one I've had my eyes on since I turned professional, and before that. And yeah, I just can't wait to seize it with both hands.
We've seen some boxing, we've seen plenty of power. Is it a mixture of this that's going to be the undoing of Chris, do you feel, on Saturday? Or have you got the power to win this early? What do you think about it?
I do believe I've got the power to win this early, but I've also got fantastic technical boxing ability, and I think you'll see a mix of that on Saturday night.
Prediction?
It's a dazzling DORAN win. how it comes about, you know, that will come on the night.
Let's move down to Team EUBANK. I'm going to start with Ronnie Davis, who's been obviously around senior and junior for so long, and I know how excited, Ronnie, you are about this time now for Chris EUBANK Jr., the fact that you think that he's ready for not just the British title, but to go on and become a world champion. What have you seen in him that's made you that convinced, Ronnie?
I saw him from day one when he was a kid, and I'm with him 7 days a week. He's a special person. He overcomes anything, like his old man was the same. He's a special fighter. He's dangerous. He's very vicious. He can be in a situation where you think, how are you going to get out of that? And he does things in the gym that I've never seen before. I know it sounds stupid, but it's I'm right. And all I can say is, he's a very, very special talent. And no disrespect to Tom, his trainer, and Dave Caldwell. We haven't overlooked things. We're too professional for that. We respect the kid. He's got a good record. He's a big puncher. Best of luck to the kid, but he's going to get beat. But let's box him. We wish you all the best, and know the best man.
So you've totally focused on Tom?
Totally focused. He's 100%. Never seen him look so good. I know I say it every time, but he is. He's brilliant. And we're not looking too far ahead as regards that. We know what's in front of us. Got to overcome the hurdle first, which he will do.
Do you think he's getting better and better?
Yes, without a doubt. As I said, I'm with him 7 days a week. No one knows him more than me. And I see a lot of special things in him, which I've never seen in other fighters. And I've had a lot of good champions, and especially with his father, obviously. But it's down on me. You'll see Saturday night. He's unbelievable, I think. That's my honest opinion.
Chris Senior, let's bring you in. Good to see you. The York Hall last night up here, obviously. How excited are you about not just Saturday night, but the weeks that go beyond Saturday night, and all the talk of the possibility of Gennady Golovkin, and the fact that your son could be in some massive nights in the coming months?
Months, years as well. In terms of junior and the coming week and months and years, look, you know, I had my career. These 19 World Championship wins I had to be a particular person to achieve that. That particular person has fathered this young man, and he has listened to the instruction. And so this peculiar man in me who's brought up this young man here, I've watched, I've seen, he has completed the tasks which were insurmountable, impossible tasks to overcome. He overcame them. Again, I talk about the Cuba beating, a heavyweight. He said, I didn't learn anything by taking that beating. He can't see it. I know what I was looking for. Can you take a beating and stay there? He did. 3 rounds, got battered. This is a middleweight. That was a heavyweight. Cuban first team. So the way in which he's being brought up, he's being built by a fighter, not a promoter, not a manager. No disrespect to Dave, but what was the record as a professional?
What's that got to do with it?
The way in which he was built, your fighters, isn't the way I would have built my fighters. And so from that point of view,
Who?
well,
You said fighters.
I'm talking about Mr. Doran.
Right, okay.
So in terms of what you've actually given him, it just will not be able to compare to what I've given to this fighter here, with my son. And so from that point of view,
But in what regard?
in what regard? We'll have that conversation after.
No, you've asked it here. You brought up my record as a
What
fighter.
was your record?
What has that got to do with anything?
Well, if you can't answer
Everybody knows
If you're
that
not
I
going
didn't
to
do
answer
anything.
the question, then
I'll
I'll move
answer it
on.
now. Everybody knows that as a boxer, I didn't achieve. I won an area title. That was it.
Okay, and
That was it.
and
But
I can make my point now.
can I just?
Sure, you can.
But has that stopped me from doing anything as a trainer or a manager?
No, of course not.
So what has my record got to do with it?
Well, I'm making the point now.
Okay.
The point is that because of your lack of experience in what happens when it comes to inside the ring, because of your lack of, you can only pass on so much information to Tom, in my view.
In your view. Okay.
Yeah, and in my view, the information that I passed on to Junior, I'm talking about from the age of 0, he has seen the cut of a champion. And that is what is fueling him to do what he's doing just now as British champion.
Okay. So can I just ask you this? So every world champion that's out there that's been trained or managed by someone, has every trainer or every manager been a successful boxer who's turned out a successful fighter?
That's not my point. You can take that up with the press in a minute. The only point I'm making is that...
That's what I mean. The point's irrelevant.
Sorry.
My career's got nothing to do with that. He's his own man.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with my career as a boxer?
You're the one who's actually managing him.
Yeah?
Okay, and I'm just saying your experience compared to my experience puts him at a disadvantage. Wouldn't you?
My experience as a manager.
Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Do you know what I've done as a manager? Do you know what I've done as a trainer?
I'm having a press conference with the media. I've actually made my point.
Yeah, but again, you're just such a disrespectful man. There's no reason for that.
I haven't been disrespectful to you.
What?
There's no-
Jibber-jabber about
I'm
stuff that's not even relevant.
I'm talking about the comparison in terms of the fighters that we are representing. And what I've given to my fighter as opposed to what you've given to yours.
What did you give when Billy Joe Saunders beat him?
So if I can go on and move on.
What did you give to him when Billy Joe Saunders beat him?
I'll move on.
Thought so.
And I'll also come back to the Billy Joe Saunders fight, which has made him much more dangerous. He's not giving away fights anymore. So the point to Tom, in that he gave away 6 rounds to Billy Joe Saunders, he's not doing that anymore. And because he's not doing that anymore, I don't even have to look at Billy Joe Saunders as a fighter. We're going to the top, because if he follows instruction as he will now do, he wipes out everyone. And, okay, so now I'm a little bit heated because of your belligerence. I'll tell you this.
You were the one that come out like first place.
I'll tell you this.
Chris, you big words to baffle people.
Be quiet, aren't they, Chris?
Ronnie.
I'll go on to say this.
Don't worry about that.
That because I'm now a little bit edgy, I'll tell you this.
Wow, I made
There is in boxing, certainly in the United Kingdom, do not talk to me about other fighters. And again, remember, you're talking to a guy who's got the 19 World Championship wins. So yes, for those of you who would say I'm deluded, I would have to have been deluded to achieve what I have achieved. Ordinary behavior couldn't have got me what I have. And it is that behavior that has been instilled in him. So when I say, with my edge, that do not talk to me about other fighters in the United Kingdom, this one is it. He's real. Okay? And the others are, I see celebrities. I see guys who are, they're taking part in a game. This is no game to this man. So, I'm going to have to say it. The referee has to be watchful of all these fighters. And yes, I'll say it too. I'll say this too. Golovkin included. Watch. I want to say something to Nigel, Mr. Ben, about Conor. See, Conor may actually turn out to be a good fighter one day. We don't know it yet. But it's not the boxing of which I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with the ordinary life. The people. Who are your friends? Who are you moving about with? His father should be there to watch that. Now, particular substances. This took him off track and maybe made him the fighter that he became. Maybe he could have been a better fighter if he wasn't involved with those mates who introduced him to that ordinary life. Your father
Wait,
knows to be here.
who are you to talk about my life? Who are you to talk about
I'm
my
getting
life?
who am I?
Who are you to talk about my personal life in front of all these cameras? Who are you? I find that extremely disrespectful.
No, it's not.
That is very disrespectful. It's none of your business. You want to talk about my dad, talk about him. Don't talk about me and come with all that. Tell him about my life.
I would like
Don't talk about my life in front of these cameras. That's my
I
personal life.
don't know about your life.
You want to talk about my
I don't
boxing?
know
Fair
about
enough, but don't talk about my personal
Okay.
life.
Okay.
I talk about my boxing.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And my personal life.
Okay. His boxing life will be better protected if his father is involved with him. Because his father will protect him against the things which happen to him. So when the father is close, the fighter is better protected. This is what I was saying. It is in support of you. It's not against you, and I'm not trying to embarrass you. I want the best for you. You may have what it takes. You may have that spirit, that energy that your father had. What I'm worried about is the outside, the parties, the girls, the media, the guys who throw you off track. That's why Junior is protected, because I'm not moving away from him. I'm always there watching everybody around him. And I'd like the same for you. It's in support of you that I say what I say. No disrespect meant. Back to the fight.
You haven't had a go at Dillian White.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Back to the fight. We do not, and we will never overestimate or underestimate anyone. And Junior has been doing the work. He hasn't been training for 4 weeks or 6 weeks. He's been training for 10 years. We don't take breaks. This is what happens when you have a father like me. My objective, the prerequisite of a father is to protect his son. So I've asked him to be relentless, and he has complied. And that, Tom, is what you are dealing with. David, always an absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Chris Junior, the fight. Tom Doran, Saturday night, you defend your British middleweight title. I know what it means to you to have that Lonsdale belt. How important is it for you to retain it, and to retain it in style on this sort of a stage?
Well, this is the thing. I'm gunning for the main guy right now, so I have to put in performances. I have to not only win, but win in fashions that earn me the right to challenge the best in the world. I'm not the type of fighter to go in there and kind of just do what's needed to be done. I go in there and I put on a show and I look to finish these guys because I'm here to make statements. This is what I'm about. I'm just that type of fighter. I go out there and I put everything on the line. And Saturday will be no different.
You talk about the main man, the big man, obviously Gennady Golovkin, and a lot of talk about that coming out in recent days and weeks. Do you understand the Doran camp feeling that's disrespectful when you've got an unbeaten guy in front of you on Saturday?
There's no disrespect, man. This is boxing. This is just how it goes, Every fighter has their goals, has their dreams, has their ambitions. And my ambition is to become a world champion. Tom Doran is not a world champion. Gennady Golovkin is, and that is what my goal has always been, to fight the best and to be the best. So I'm always going to be, that's always going to be a topic of discussion. But as far as Tom, we're not looking past him. And, he seems determined. To be honest, I'm a bit uncomfortable with his demeanor. This whole mild manners. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to the civility of what he's of how he is treating this fight. I'm used to being told I'm going to get knocked out and I'm bad for boxing, and all these other things. He's not really giving me any of that fuel. So it's different, but I'm sure he's going to come in there and put on a show, hopefully, for the fans. 17,000 people, you can't not perform in front of that type of audience. So I'm expecting out of the fight.
What dangers do you see in Tom?
No.
convinced you'll be able to deal with whatever he throws at you in whatever round on Saturday night.
Absolutely. This is, you know, I mean, I've looked at his fight, so I know the type of fighter he is, style-wise. He has heart, which he showed in his last fight. He got knocked down and came back to win. Heart is something he's going to need in abundance on Saturday night.
And is the plan to get Gennady Golovkin in the ring next and quickly? Do you believe that you are at the right stage to take such a huge jump in levels and fight the guy that has been the most feared fighter probably in the world for some time?
Now, you know, the time is now. This is my time. I'm 26 years old. You know, this is prime time for me, and he's number one. They're calling him the pound for pound king. So, and me as a fighter, I look at that and I say, well, why is he? You know, what can he do that I can't do? And I don't see any man that could be looked at and be called invincible or unbeatable. But everyone can be beaten. He has power, great fighter, but as far as speed, technique, defense, I see holes in his game, and that's what I will be looking to exploit. So that's the fight we want next.
Gennady Golovkin's knocked pretty much anyone out. Tom Doran's got an unbeaten record. You haven't. Do you think that one loss against Billy Joe Saunders makes you a more complete fighter today?
I learned so much from that fight. Even though in my heart I don't believe I lost, I don't believe Billy Joe Saunders is a better fighter than me. You know, it was an experience fight, and you know, the mistakes I made earlier in that fight have never been repeated and never will be repeated. And as far as me pacing myself too much in the early rounds of the fight, you know, now I go in there and I search and destroy from round one, and you guys are going to see that again on Saturday night and in all my future bouts.
Your dad's nodding. Do you believe in what he said, that the fact that he's been with you since zero gives you that extra edge that's going to make you the complete fighter and a world champion of the future?
You can only make yourself the world champion. It's not up to anybody else to give you an edge. You know, everything that I've done, he's guided and been there for support. But as far as having an edge, that only comes from inside yourself. You know, the experience and the knowledge that I've gained from him being around me is priceless. But I'm the one that needs to go out there and perform and put in the work, put in the time, and put in the performances. And you know, that's what I've been doing, and that's what I will continue to do. And the world stage is where I perform best, in front of 17,000 people at the O2, on Sky Sports. You know, you can't really ask for much more of a better audience. So I'm ready to roll.
Finally, Chris, prediction for Saturday night and prediction if Golovkin is next, what happens?
The prediction for Saturday night is it's going to be devastating. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be fight of the night. We're going to go in there and we're going to steal the show. All I can say is I hope Tom's ready, and I hope he's willing to come in there. And I've been told that you said you're going to stand toe to toe with me. If that's true, it's going to make for a hell of a fight. So you know, let's see if you're a man of your word.
I'm more than ready, and I'll show that on Saturday night.
Thank you, Adam. Always eventful. And part one of our press conferences today concluded. We're going to have head-to-heads with Dillian White, Ivica Bakurin, and Chris EUBANK Sr. and Dave Coldwell. Chris EUBANK Jr. and Tom Doran. And we'll get underway soon. Thank you very much.